Windowswear is Coach and their team, Giovanni Zaccarello, Joanna Rupchan, and David Liman, who are here to talk with us about a new project they have called Windows of the Future. It's one step forward to sustainability, to do better, to creativity, to art. And I'm gonna introduce you to them because they're gonna do an amazing presentation for us to know what they've been working on, for how long they've been working on, and where and when can we see this amazing initiative that is called Windows of the Future. Gio, Joanna, and David, the mic is all yours.
Hi, everybody. First of all, thank you all for joining us. I'm excited to have been invited with my team to this. And this project is actually started 16 months ago, believe it or not. And I think when we talked with this to Windowswear, we really love this idea of the behind the scene and this idea that sometimes Windows come in and out so fast, and there was really no time to appreciate the art. And I think for many people that work in this industry know how much time and how much efforts and how much work goes into making one window go live. And I think kind of wanted to start a little bit with the strategy. So the reason why we are doing this and why we're doing this, we got inspired by some of the Windows installation in big department stores where they actually have a big unveiling. And I was a little bit saying, like, why are they the only ones that can do this? What about if we start doing this as smaller brands like us, or we have many stores, however, and we don't just have one store. So how do we scale that? So instead of doing the same thing everywhere, the idea was, can we do less, but can we also be bolder into the approach? So instead of doing, for example, one window that will be multiplied by thousands around the world, the whole strategy was to maybe pick our top cities and really create work of arts. We are calling them traffic stopping creative or press worthy creative, to then really do events around them and really have the local team participate into the creation. So what is new about this window, and there is 3 big buckets of this strategy. The first one is this idea of having a bespoke approach. So instead of doing the same creative around the world, we're actually now having one creative per city. And we have now launched, as of today, 7 cities around the world. We have one more happening in November, and we have London happening in January. Each of the windows is bespoke in nature. And believe it or not, we've actually even met with the store managers and the regional managers to really understand what works in each region. Because what works in one region doesn't work in another. The second piece is the evergreen approach. So we are launching the windows now. They will stay in for at least a year. We are very committed to producing less waste, as you guys are aware, into VM. Many of you guys have sent lovely messages about the vintage pop-ups that we'll be doing around the world, which all features were rented. Or donated, for example. A little bit of a similar approach here for Windows. And one of the things that we'll be talking about in the new year is, a possible partnership with Windows, where we're actually donating some of those windows to schools, artists, students around the world, so that nothing gets to waste. And then the final piece of this is, how do we get customers to participate, right? Like this big project happening during COVID, actually, and we were excited to be able to bring customers back into stores after they've been stuck in their home for such a long time. So all of those windows have actually been celebrated with events. And we know how many people love to go back into stores and be with their friends, family, get dressed up, put the makeup on, and really go back to being human beings. We love being together. So when we shared this back with Windowswear, I think it was back a year ago. And one thing, of course, that we did along the way, we had to really bring on board a production partner. So I know we have some of the members from the Arlequin team on the call, and they've really been great partners for us to make sure that this was really a smooth process into the execution. So kind of want to give a shout out to them as well. We couldn't have done this without their supports across the 9 cities really around the world. So without further ado, I'm gonna kind of talking about a little bit about the cities. So we're basically all over the world. So we have Moana in Hawaii. We have a window in Taipei, Fifth Avenue, which most of you guys have seen on Instagram already. Michigan Avenue, Indonesia, Yorkdale in Canada, Pavilion in Malaysia, which is the one that's received so far most press. And then the next one that's going live will be Ginza in Tokyo in mid-November. So, and with that, we have created a little bit of a mashup video. Hopefully you guys can hear the volume on this that kind of has a recap of all the windows. So this shows a little bit about each window, and I know that Joanna and David will go a little bit more into detail into each of them. And I think what's important for me to highlight is, a little bit about the creative process as well. One thing is to design the same creative and then get scaled up by hundreds of stores. And one thing is to actually design each store specifically. And to be honest with you, I think this is really where the world is going to. I think localization is a big part of our strategy go forward. And you're going to see that not just in windows, but also as we design stores, pop-ups, events, activation, even some of the digital activities that we're doing in our digital stores, whether it's about partnering with local artists or local, artists around the world there. So, and now I'll leave it to Jay and David to take you through the creatives.
Hi, I'm Joanna. Hopefully you can hear me. So yeah, we'll go to Moana first, which is in Hawaii, and we're doing the subway window in this window. The subway window is something we've done before, but we wanted to take a new take on it. So we thought we could add in digital. So this is a sketch that we did where it first started off with like the large subway, and then we go into like the rendering to see like the process of it. So this window actually has 3 windows. So it has 2 flanking windows flanking the doorway, and then it has the main window, which has the subway cart. In the 2 flanking windows, we wanted to still incorporate subway elements. So we have like the turnstile, the I-beam. We also worked on some like bespoke subway tiles, even having, like Gio mentioned, localization. So we did do like Moana to New York, just to have like the idea of like a localization moment in there. We also incorporated some stickers that were also localized as well, to give like that grunge vibe that you would see in a New York subway. And we also have like some hidden elements you'll see in there once we go into like the photos. So we'll go into the actual setup, which would be the next photo. So this is actually what went live. So we were able to do, like I talked about, like the bespoke tile work on the side windows. And then we also did, like, you can't see it in this photo, but we did do like watch the gap on the floor with like the coin flooring. We also added in like some rivets like you would see on the I-beam in the subway station. And then in the main window, we also added in some additional elements like the little subway rat that you might see in there, but still making her cute. So, she's still friendly. And then we also have like the coffee cup and the Coach Times. And then I'll have David walk through like the digital component.
Should we play it first?
Sure, I'll press play for you.
All right, so what you saw on the left was the digital experience you get if you scan a QR code in the window. I think this is a really successful window, and it's such a great concept to do New York to Moana. So the content that we built to go in the window helps tell that story. You start in New York City, and then it cuts like you're looking out the window of a cab and seeing the city. All of a sudden, you're seeing mountains go by from Moana. So it's definitely using content to really elevate the overall story that exists with all the other props and all the other parts and pieces.
Sorry about that.
One more time.
So yeah, G, if you don't have anything to add, we go to A8 next.
No, I think if you guys think about one thing I do want to mention, one of the idea was ideally to find as much found object as possible for this. So of course, a subway cart cannot fit into a window. But if you think about the I-beam or the turnstiles, those are all found object that, of course, we have repurposed. And I think that's where, our VM production expertise and Arlequin expertise comes in. They will be refinished with stickers, but those were not remade. So again, thinking about this idea of producing less waste, I think this is one of the ways we've been able to do that. The window will stay for a year. So the amazing concept and creative that David has shared is about to get a holiday update in a few weeks. And then, of course, it will turn into spring, summer as we get into, February, March. So you can see how digital helps to take things for longer because we can easily update those where the physical kind of stays the same across the season. So, and I think Taipei, it's similar but different, right, Jay?
Yeah. So we're going to A8, which is a digital sculpture window. So in the window itself, so this is a rendering. So it has this digital riser that we came up with that also can hold product in there. And then we also did like this really luxurious brushstroke back wall, and then on the sides for the actual structure itself, we did like a bronze mirror to give a reflection of the content, which David will walk through. So yeah, just to keep it really like into our warm color palette that we like. Do you want to play the video first, David?
I think so. I think it helps give context. So that particular window uses a technology that's really interesting, very relevant to the pandemic. Remember when the pandemic started, everyone was afraid to touch anything. So this technology was developed that allows you to turn your phone into a touchscreen that can operate any computer. So Geo had the idea to take this window and make it not just a digital sculpture, but something that people could actually play with from outside. And therefore we used it as a chance to experiment with that kind of back end hardware. And then I think that the other aspect of this is, we're obviously doing some storytelling with the content itself, which is New York City, but it was really fun. I think what comes through in all these windows is we really try to match the color palettes of the content with the color palettes of the materials and the environment. So you can kind of see in these images that it's not just New York City, but it's very much like Coach's view of New York City, which is always like in a kind of like a pink and orange sunset kind of vibe. So yeah, A8, there it is.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of great response from, even KOLs and celebrities, as you know, especially in Asia. It's big trend photo making. And I think this windows and what you're going to see as well in Indonesia have been some of the biggest, UGC drivers. There is only a few examples on this page, for example, but again, the window will stay for a year as well. So if you're ever in Taipei, stop by. And I think the last slide is actually quite interesting because it kind of shows the making of this window, which is quite fun.
And then we go into Coach House, which is our New York store. So this store actually already has a conveyor belt in the window. So when we were thinking about concepts for this window, we're like, maybe we just want something to like accentuate that as opposed to take over the space itself. So we thought maybe just doing a digital billboard would be like the best way to go about it. So we took over the side wall and we made it into a digital window, and David will talk more about the content itself, but this is just like a photo of actually what was installed.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think so much of the story here comes through if you look at the image on the left. you see the bag hanging from the conveyor belt, and then right behind it, a gigantic image of the bag held by a celebrity. So so much of what we're trying to do is bring together all of the interesting creative forces that are part of the Coach brand and make them accessible and relevant all within one window. So again, all we had to do is add a large screen here, and that allowed us to pull in content, celebrity, different levels of storytelling. And I think we work hard to make sure it all kind of feels right and is complementary to the really awesome display work that's already there.
And we have a little behind the scenes next as well.
The amount of work we went through to get that screen to fit was nobody will ever know.
Especially with the conveyor, right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I think one thing, of course, to note is, especially because of Coach As and many people that live in New York, I mean, we think it's going to become a billboard for all of our campaigns. And as you guys know, we've definitely been pushing celebrity at Coach. So this is going to be a great way for them to have a space in our global flagship. And very excited to share soon also what's happening for holiday in the next few weeks. So it's going to be a great way to do that.
Then we go into 625 North Michigan, which is in Chicago. So this is a rendering that we did of the window itself. So we did taking notes from our modern luxury store design, we wanted to incorporate an I-beam structure within the space as well to give a nod to that. So we have the I-beam that's using for product placement for the shoes and for the bags in the two windows. And in the window itself, we also have these digital screens. In the one window, we have 3 flanking bus forms. And then on the secondary window, we have it cascading upwards. So it does curve to the shape of the window. And we also have we're doing a concrete back wall and flooring in a warm material, and then also using our bronze that we like to use as well.
Jay, one thing I want to add is a little bit about, of course, we do have some brands that are incredibly digital on the outside. And I think, the way that the team has brought digital to life is very much in a Coach way. I think even the I-beam or even in Coach As with the conveyor, there's always kind of a nostalgic nod to things. We are not just putting a big screen into a window, and maybe that's what some of the other brands could do, but how do you bring it back to Coach? And I think always taking our values in mind. And I know that's something that David and I talk a lot about. Like, what does digital mean for a company that has 85 years history? And what does it look like? So I think, for example, the I-beam here, it's a great nod to that. And for Coach As, I think was the conveyor belt, and of course the content, but just wanted to point that out because I do think that's a critical part of, how we evolve in digital at Coach in general.
Then we just have some photos of the actual display. And then David we have a little behind the scenes I can play first.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say about that window is, like I want to support what Gio said. It's very much trying to reflect the brand. We're also inundated with content. The last thing we need is just like another commercial playing in our face. So, it's a real collaborative effort to get the right content that feels authentic, that feels like it's part of the window. And then I think I'm really proud of just the way that whole window is detailed as well. Those aren't TV screens. Those are, if you look closely, when you walk by, you'll see they're LED tiles that are rimmed or edged with brass. So there's a very bespoke, high craft quality to kind of everything that's happening in that window.
Yeah, and I do want to give a kudos to Roya, who was on site for this, FaceTiming, texting to make sure that everything looked phenomenal. And I think nodding what David was saying about the attention to detail is not just another screen, which we know it's very common. But how do you make a Coach is really through the details and how things are stitched together and elaborated together. I know she's smiling there, but yeah, truly love the support there to make sure it looked spectacular.
So next we have Senayan City. So this one is doing inspired by neons. Neon is a very big Coach code, I feel like. It's something we do very often, whether it's in the runway show, a window, in our ad campaign, or even in our stores itself, store design. So we did want to do a nod to neons within one of the window concepts, and also bringing you back to New York, since that is our hometown. So we did the main window, but then it also trickled in to the actual store itself. So in the main window, we have these various inspired vintage neons. So we have like the taxi, the Union Square Park. We also have Felix, which is one of Stuart's favorite characters as well. And we also have like the parking sign and some car inspiration. And to localize it, we also had, we also want to localize it to the actual region itself. So we do have some inspired neons that are inspired by like the tuk-tuk that you would see, and like just all New York Heart Jakarta as well. And these are just some like detail images of the actual neons itself. Similar to all the other windows, we still kept it to a really warm color palette, even the riser itself, and the back wall, and even the lighting that comes out from the actual neon. And then we also have some KOLs, like Gio mentioned, some KOL shots within the store. So really highlighting that warmth within these photos as well. Oh, Gio, do you want to mention anything else about them before I go?
No, I do want to mention this idea of, of course, this was a very challenging window to push for found. So again, kudos to the production folks who are behind the scene, but for this window, I think they were pretty important. I mean, I'm loving even like the material. If you look at the the detailing on the taxi neon or Felix, so just something to know there. I think those feel quite Coach. Again, not all neons are can belong to Coach, but we really feel that the color palette is bringing everything together here. So and I do know that the traffic in these locations has tripled since we actually launched, and I think now it's become a beacon of traffic for the mall. And hopefully, like a Coach House, the big Rexy days there is going to become a destination for tourism and tourists, the way it's marketing and pushed by the region. So yeah, I think we can do the behind the scene. I think this one is quite fun.
I guess we'll go into Yorkdale next. So Yorkdale is in Toronto, and it's also going to have the vintage TVs. So we were really inspired by, like, I would say a 1950s TV shop where you would actually buy a vintage TV from. So we wanted to incorporate like a signage that had like Now Playing Coach TV. We also incorporated like a curtain, which when we did a lot of research on 1950s TV shops, we saw that that was also something that was incorporated. So we wanted to do a nod to that as well. And we also were able to source all of these vintage TVs, which is pretty awesome. And we added in the Coach TV content, which David could speak more about.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is just the theme around this window is so simple and so such a great celebration of the brand. Coach TV is, I think, probably our kind of like hottest marketing ideas happening right now. All this great content's happening around that. So this window is just an extension and celebration of that idea, and it's evergreen. In the same way, Coach TV is it's a concept that can continue to evolve from season to season. So this window becomes like a channel for Coach TV content every season. It's really fun. I think the other aspect of this, kind of the nerdy detail about this window that's fun, is that this is our chance to use actual like cathode ray tubes, where everything digital these days is actually typically LED screens or LED tiles. This is really leaning into our nostalgia by using actual some very old TVs.
We also detail shots. We also have like baby TVs to hold baby bags. So just like different variations of sizing just to also hold product. And then we have a detail shot of the neon sign we worked on. And we also have it behind the scenes for this one as well. G, do you want to add anything else before we go to the next one?
No, I just wanted to say that I think, because Coach TV is becoming so popular for us, one of the things that we're looking at as well, and you're going to see this even for holidays, even hosting some preview parties in the store as we launch some of the new episodes. So I'm sure you guys have seen some of the new episodes running from the last runway show that we did in New York City a few months ago. Feels like a year ago already, but it kind of provides a lot of flexibility, even if the TVs don't change, because of the flexibility of the content. So stay tuned for more updates over the next few weeks for holiday on this one as well.
And then we go into Pavilion, which is Gia's favorite.
I think it's
also my favorite.
I think it's also Windows Wear favorite. Raul, what are your thoughts on that one?
It is. Nicole just said that is her favorite, and me too. Well, I'm waiting for one more that is coming that I'm not gonna say who it is, but what it is. But this is Nicole's favorite, Pavilion Mall.
Well, apparently Stephen from Arlequin also said this is his favorite. I wonder why, because this went in very easy, right? It was such an easy window to install. None of those were easy. So none of those were easy, but we are where we are, and it went very well. So Jay, take it away.
Sure. So Pavilion, we're doing a nod to Rexy. So Rexy is one of our mascots. And we've done Rexy in many different ways, but this is the first time we're actually doing her in a more realistic but cartoony way at the same time. So we did, the idea of Rexy was to have her going to our first Coach store. She is so excited and loves all of her Coach bags. She takes them all up and runs at the store. So that's kind of the story that we came up with. And in this store, actually, we have a digital screen at the top, and we also have the main window at the bottom. So we were able to get the digital screen at the top for a month, I think, right, G? And then we're having the main window where she actually breaks through. So you see the sketch at the bottom of her actually breaking through with all of her Coach bags. And then we have our actual photos. So this is the main window itself. Rexy turned out amazing. I think her attention to detail was pretty awesome. You can see her eyelashes. She has those big Disney eyes that you would see. Also her detailing around her teeth. We still wanted to make her soft and still friendly. We didn't want to make her too scary. And then we also have a digital screen behind her, which David worked on the New York content for that. And yeah, we just have her breaking through the main window. Do we want to go to the video before anyone says anything?
Let's do it.
Okay. Oh, no, I take back. It's not the video. It's first the photo and then it's the video.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to a little bit to what you guys just saw above the actual window display is it's kind of a big thing right now, the depth windows. I think I've only seen them in Asia, but it was just a great opportunity. I think when we started this window, we didn't realize that would be an opportunity to use that as well. And luckily it came through. I think we were the first big brand to take advantage of it. So hopefully we really made a great impact in that overall square. And it was a wonderful combination. I mean, Gio talks a lot about Phygital. This was, my team and Joanna's team working very intimately to craft an animation, and then getting into detail, even working with a character designer to build a 3D Rexy, and then using that 3D Rexy to actually make the physical Rexy on the lower window. So it was just a really fun collaboration. And then the actual local market even made Rexy costumes that you saw kind of dancing around in front of that window. So it really was a 360 experience that involved influencers and events and spectacle, and then the documentation of the window itself has become a big thing on social. So it's really fun getting deep into these windows and seeing how they can make a much bigger impact than just that one space and that one place at one time.
Yeah, just one thing I want to add is, for me, it's about, and I know we have some great window designers on this call. I see a few of my friends on the call, but really thinking about windows as a piece of art. And, I think when we think about windows today, most windows have become disposable. And I think for me, spending the time to really go 360 on those windows is definitely what's going to make those windows special. Now, whether it's Coach or another brand, it doesn't really matter. But, really thinking about how do we do bolder windows, ideally they stay for longer. And I think this one could become a tourist attraction, maybe in Malaysia. Why not? I think if we don't force it, if we don't push for it, we're never going to know. So I know that most of you guys that design windows appreciate it, but these windows will definitely be up for a year or maybe longer. So again, if you're in Malaysia, in KL, please take a look.
Also have some KOL videos as well. So just like how David mentioned about social.
Singing low while I pop a bottle off of your chain swinging, clang clang, and it costs a lot. Bitch, I'm always at the guala, yeah, and you are not badass beat. Keep on going till you hit the spot. Whoa.
Okay, the other one as well.
Keep on falling for me. I love the way you feel. I came here to drop some money, dropping all my money, drop some money. Oh, this stuff's so yummy, yeah.
And we also have a behind the scenes from this one. And this pavilion. And we will move on to our next one. Oh, Ginza. We're at Ginza. So like Gio mentioned, Ginza's not launching until November, which is next month. So we have a robot. Her name is Ami. So she's made out of car parts and found car parts and different elements like that. So we do have like her eyes that are like the car parts that you see for like a light bulb for a car. We also have the exhaust pipe, like the big lights that you would see. And we also have like different like vents and things like that that make her into what she is. She is our friendly robot that also is similar to Rexy as well. And yeah, this is our robot. Gee, I don't know if you want to mention anything else.
No, I saw Raul smiling. Was this the second favorite? Did I guess it?
I just think this, what I love about this one is the idea that the parts that confirm this window was trash at some point. So like, I love that you guys were able to build something like that looks very cool and whatever, but very luxurious and new out of like trash or something like that somebody disposed. I'm just fascinated by the idea.
Yeah, and again, I must say it's been a lot of labor. It's been a lot of labor of love. And again, I wanted to a big shout out to the Coach production team and also the Arlequin team, because it sounds easy on paper to do what you just described, but actually to do this and transport. And of course, we are in a earthquake country in Japan, so all of the restrictions and limitations. So she will be up in November. Hopefully, she's gonna be safe in the window. And we're going to have hopefully our Japanese consumers appreciate it during the holiday season. So she's actually launching for holiday. Yeah, and it is really kind of our found strategy, right? Similar to Subway or similar to TVs. The idea was to really found elements that already exist and then refinish them and give them a new life, right? If you guys think about what we're doing with our bags, we Coach Reloved, it's an old bag, but then it's cleaned and remade for the new generation. This is really the same thing for this. And hopefully the idea, and I know that, Ro, you and John and the Windowswear team are very big proponent of this. Hopefully one day those windows will be given to students or schools as pieces of art. So we kind of want to do our own version of Coach Reloved with the windows. My goal is not to destroy any piece of those windows and really donate them. Or even auction them, for scholarship or whatever we end up doing. But I do believe that that's the future, and hopefully will help to produce less waste overall for the company and for what we do in stores, really.
We're
there's
working
a
on
lot
that.
of work to be done, but that's the goal. And I truly appreciate your partnership as well, and you dreaming big about making this, and hopefully other brands will follow suit. So I know it's not an easy thing to do, but if you have a year, it's a plan. I think it's possible.
We proved that, Gio, you and your team have proved that you guys think very forward and you dare to do things that no one else is doing and people follow. I just wanted to ask where the name Amy came from.
Jay?
We wanted to make her local, feel local. So so that's where Ami came from. So yeah, it's just like a localized Japanese name just to give her a feel part of.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah, good question.
And then the last one, which I'll have G talk about as well, because it's coming soon.
So I don't think we have a rendering here, right, Jay?
No, not for this one.
No. So, I mean, this one is pretty bold. So we actually took the rendering out because I kind of don't want it to leak. I know I'm excited to share, but also don't want it to leak. So we also working on a big reveal in London, the first week of January. Of course, in the UK, the holiday season is very big. So we wanted to launch this right after that. And we are working on a experiential window that actually leads inside the store. So where the windows at the store become one piece of the puzzle instead of having the window and the store separated. So hopefully the first week of January, if you follow us on social, you'll be able to see some of this. And the main aspect of Regent Street will be hospitality. It's a big buzzword today for everybody that works in retail, but you're going to be seeing a lot of hospitality as part of the launch plan for this location. And I think that concludes the 9 locations.
This is fantastic, guys. We talked about this for I think almost a year when you told us you were working on this. We're fascinated by it. I can't believe it's here. I can't believe you guys did it. We're gonna open for some questions that I'm sure there are many. I have mine in the meantime that everybody think about theirs.
Sure.
I wanted to ask Gio and Joanna and David, do you guys feel like in the end, in the long run, working on these 9 locations for X amount of time, was it more sustainable than have work every season as you were used to? Like, do you feel like you save time, emails, money, energy, or you feel like you work more in the end, but it's gonna last more?
Jay and David, all yours.
I think it's definitely a different way of working for sure. Like we call it the fridge. We have like these ideas that are saved in the fridge that we like to call, that I feel like we are able to like go bolder when it's like different window concepts, right? Instead of using the same, like one concept goes to everywhere, which makes it kind of hard because it's like you can't use all the great ideas that you have, right? Because it's like you can only do it 4 times a year, then it rolls over. So it's nice that you can do a unique concept into each window, which does, like Gio mentioned, feels like art, and it can last for a year, and you can really like feel proud of it just because of the materiality and the finishes and like all the things that you can get out of like that beautiful work of art. So I think it's definitely different, but I think it is something that I feel great about, just because, yeah, it's like having babies in a way. You know, it's just like you get to see like this like proud thing at the end. So yeah,
it's definitely more sustainable than the typical approach. You know, it's putting more effort, time, and attention in a few precious places rather than trying to do, you know, what would typically be over 100 windows in the course of a year.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, that's very cool. Everybody, if somebody has a question for David, Joanna, Gio, or some people from the Harley Quinn team that are joining us, that are here, they would love to respond. I also wanted to ask maybe Gio and the Harley Quinn team, maybe Roya that is here. What were the challenges of like doing something like this, working on 9 different locations? Almost you guys unveil all of them at the same time. What were the kind of like the challenges that you didn't have before and you faced this for the first time and now you like own it?
Yeah, I think maybe Roy and Steven, I don't know if we can unmute them. I think they've been the ones in the trenches, I think, and if anyone else from the coach production team. But I mean, designing is one thing, but I think executing in different languages and night shift and time zones and all the rest of it is as complex. So I'll let them maybe from Arlequin start, and maybe someone from coach production can chime in.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges for myself and the coach production team was getting samples signed off, something as simple as that, you know, because you can't actually see these things in person. You can't be at the workshop and piecing this thing together with your hands, you know, you have to kind of do a lot of things by eyes. So, and then that plus the time difference is obviously a huge one, especially during install. So, I was kind of waking up at 7 a.m. on a normal day in New York, and then it's completely opposite side of the world. It's a middle of an install, and it's the first thing you do when you wake up, and it's like, wow. So that was a big challenge for me, but we got through it in the end, so it was all good fun.
What he said. No, listen, I think it was a great project to be part of. I think Gio couldn't have said it better, that it's a new way of thinking, and it's not only figuring out how to do sustainable windows, but interesting windows that will last and have longevity, but also I think it's the way we're working today, having to do sort of approvals, like he was saying, sample approvals via video chat, or, in the past, I think Coach and Coach's team has been so used to either going to a shop, approving the item, rolling it out. So I think that's what's the innovation in this. It's obviously great that it will last an entire year, and David will change the video and it'll be amazing. But it's the fact that we figured out how to do this all over the world with one team together here in New York. And I mean Coach and Harlequin. And I think that is the innovation, and really congratulations to all of you.
Yeah,
awesome. Congratulations to all of you.
And Raul, I also wanna do it also at the same time that this window project was happening. We also had an internal new production team, so that was all happening at the same time. So I know that we have Alina and Ellie on the call here from production, and Kiri from design. I mean, this was all. It took really a village. Sometimes you say it takes a village. It really took. Actually, it's a city. Right, Roya, it's a city. There's a lot of people involved. And of course, the store staff, I mean, they could not be prouder. I mean, everybody's putting this on their own handle. They're connecting with customers in a different way. They're taking their own videos of this. So I think for me, the biggest thing is having the store staff proud of their creative, and them trying to reach out to customers in a new way. For me, at the end of the day, we can do everything we want at corporate, but if the customers don't see them, they don't react, then we're wasting our time. And I know somebody's asking for a window like this in Australia.
Yes.
We have a big business there, and actually you're going to be seeing a few things for holiday over there in some of our stores in Melbourne and Sydney, and a lot coming also for Mother's Day next year, right, Jay? We've just started that process. So Australia is going to become a key priority for us over the next few seasons. So you're definitely going to see more. I don't know where you are in Australia, but yes, more to come over there too.
Perfect. That was for Kerry Little. We have another question that is for the coach team. Since this concept will be up for the next year or so, what would you be working on through the next year for 2022? Congrats, by the way.
Well, believe it or not, we're actually meeting right after this meeting to talk about the round two. I know we have our production team keeps us on a schedule, on a timeline. So the good news is that we have an incredible internal creative team. I think between Joanna, Kiri, David, and his team, I couldn't be prouder of all of them. And there is so many ideas. We just need the money and the windows to actually work on. There's so much in the fridge that we have. And however, we want to keep this very limited. The whole point is not to do this in 100 stores, because otherwise it's just not sustainable. We really want to spend the time in designing every single detail, every single element of the window needs to be considered. I think if we do more than this, that's not the approach. So the idea is to keep it limited, and there'll definitely be around two. I think it was John asking for this. And maybe some of the windows are going to be there now will be around 1.5, because maybe some of them will stay. Like we need to assess all of that. Like if I think about Coach House, for example, like that can stay permanent. We don't need to change that video screen. That can stay there, and then maybe we pick another store in a different part of New York, or maybe we don't do New York and we go to Middle America and do something there that's more localized. So the good news is that the possibilities are endless, but that process is just about to begin this evening. So stay tuned for more next year.
Amazing. So Gio and his team are never sleeping. We love that about them. Does anybody else have a question? We have like a few more minutes. This has been very insightful. Um,
No question, but thanks for sharing, Gio. Always great to see all the amazing work at Coach, and love I love being a former Coach person, the recreation of the ideas and bringing them back to life in different ways, or taking like Coach House that started to get not stagnant, but it's been there a while, right? So, and refreshing in thoughtful ways felt really nice. So I do also love the Malaysia one.
and we love brands that support other brands. Chris Holton, for everybody who doesn't have the pleasure, Chris Holton is from the team at Kate Spade, sister brand of Coach. Do you guys actually like get inspired by each other? Like, do you kind of like bounce back feedback and ideas and all that when it comes to things?
We actually do more than people know.
That's
So
amazing.
We share a lot. Well, it's for two reasons. One, we need to keep differentiation between the brands. And secondly, I think it's great to know and see and be inspired by what other brands are doing. So yeah, we stay super connected. We also complain a lot. Just kidding. No, it's a very healthy relationship between Gio and I, and how we collaborate and work together. And I think it suits well for the brands. It works really well for us. So.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much to everybody, and thank you to Gio and David and Roya and Joanna and the Harley Quinn team, because we know that you guys put time into this, but also you put time into this doing this amazing presentation. We love your insights and all the things that you share. I think it's very 2021 to share things and to be open about it, and to just kind of like try to educate your peers. And not many brands are like that, and we love that about Coach and Kate Spade and Harley Quinn. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys very soon.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.